Latest from the Education Cabinet Secretary to remind us that we're not animals, we're human beings, sets the pace for team coverage. We're counting the costs, and on the education issue, the ping pong games here in the education sector, Oko Kusa, must leave the teachers confused.
Well, Mark, the timeline bears a series of announcements on the way forward on the reopening of schools, which appeared to have contradictions on CS Magoha's part. This became even more escalated when the president seemed to shelve the tough-talking Magoha's indications.
I think it's about time to call our children back to school.
The lives of our children and their health is not a matter for debate.
A practical case of the right hand not knowing what the left hand is doing, or possibly one hand slapping on the other. Education Cabinet Secretary George Magoha had just days before hinted at an October reopening, and a directive was issued to prepare the ground.
We are therefore now asking our teachers to report back to schools on Monday, the 28th of September, to prepare for the eventual opening of schools.
We want the schools to be habitable. We have been visiting them. Most of them are in very good state. There are a few schools that have been damaged.
And teachers reported to work, but even before their day one was over,
learning institutions, therefore, should only be reopened when we have and can sufficiently guarantee the safety of all our children.
A case of same caste, different scripts, and the conflicting messages may have only come as an additional spin in the whirlwind that Magoha appears to have put out.
All the children must have masks. If the social distancing is not achieved, all children must have masks.
Magoha initially threw out suggestions of reopening in 2020, terming it a lost year. Then he seems to have made an about-turn, citing advice from the Education Response Committee on Education, which said it had worked out possible scenarios of a phased return to school.
It is time to relook because the doctor has told you the curve is flattening.
Bring the child to school and go home.
But the president during his Monday address was clear that children's lives were not to be gambled with. A day later, on Tuesday 29th, CS Magoha announced the reopening dates for universities and tertiary institutions. He said that the decision was arrived at after what he described as broad-based consultation with stakeholders. In its plan, the Ministry of Education had proposed 3 dates for the reopening of learning institutions, all falling between October 4th and October 19th, subject to how prepared teachers and students are. In the proposal, 50% of the students comprising Form 4s, Standard 8s and 7 plus Grade 4 were to be admitted first.